everyone, my name is Audrey and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to talk about every book I read in March.
My perfect date starts in a small cafe. There's hearts everywhere cause it's Valentine's Day. We order up waffles, then share the whole plate. Sit by the window and start to debate. There's nobody else I'd rather spend my everyday with. I think it's sweet, she sometimes winks when she laughs. I like the way she dances barefoot in the grass. Yeah, we get along alright. Cause I've been dating me my whole life. Afternoon sun starts to peek through the clouds. We take the back streets to avoid the crowds. Waltz over sidewalks and twirl in the breeze. She'll catch me if I get weak in the knees. There's nobody else I'd rather spend my everyday with. She doesn't mind that I don't know how to cook. She likes the way I keep my nightstand filled up with books. And I think it's sweet, she sometimes winks when she laughs. I like the way she dances barefoot in the grass. Yeah, we get along alright. Cause I've been dating me my whole life. She doesn't mind that I don't know how to cook. She likes the way I keep my nightstand filled up with books. And I think it's sweet, she sometimes winks when she laughs. I like the way she dances barefoot in the grass. Yeah, we get along alright. Cause I've been dating me my whole life.
I still need to recover from another lover. Would you be here for me? Never met your parents, not even your mother. But let's see where this leads. What should we do tonight? What if this breaks your little heart in mine? What should we do? Let's just find out. Pretty blue jeans and me, running through evergreen. Pretty blue jeans and me, yeah, she's what I need. I still need to recover from another lover. You're my picture perfectly. Still haven't met your parents, but we hang with your brother when he could use the company. What should we do tonight? What if this breaks your little heart in mine? What should we do tonight? Let's just find out.
So this month has been the most successful so far this year. I'm really happy to say that I managed to finish 4 books this month. I was hoping for more, but I'm still really happy with 4 books, which is actually my goal for the year on Goodreads, to read 1 book every week. So 4 books is actually really great. I'm still behind my Goodreads challenge, but I am slowly catching up on that. So hopefully the next month still go smoothly. As I always do every month, I participate in the Buzzwordathon hosted by Kayla from Books and Lala. And the prompt for March was to read a book with a location in the title. And unfortunately, I did not manage to read any books with a location in the title. I actually did start Jurassic Park by Michael Crichton, but I did not get further than the first chapter. I will be moving that book towards my April TBR. The first book I read and finished in March is The Hunger Games by Susan Collins. This is a reread for me. I did read this, I think it was in 2014, the first time I actually read it. And if you don't know me, this is the book that got me into reading as an adult, because when I was a teen, there wasn't much YA. It didn't really exist. And the Harry Potter books actually did come out when I was a teen as well. And I was not interested in those books. And the YA category of books was just actually starting. So I wasn't that much into reading younger, but as an adult, I really connected with The Hunger Games, and it really got me back into reading. I rated this 5 stars when I first read it, and the second time around, I still rated 5 stars. I can acknowledge when a book has flaws in it, and it's still my favorite. But for this book, I think it was really well written, and I have been struggling ever since to find a real good dystopian book since this one. I don't feel that I've read any good dystopian that came up to what The Hunger Games actually made of the genre. I feel like most of them, especially YA dystopians, they tend to be over the top, unbelievable, because of how everything doesn't fit all together and it's incoherent, which I'm really picky for. So yeah, this still lives up to the hype, and I do feel like it still deserves its 5 stars. The next book I read and finished was The 5th Season by N.K. Jemisin. And this is the first book of a trilogy, and it is a fantasy dystopian type as well. And it's something that's very of its own, if that makes sense. It's very unique, and the writing in this book was just brilliant. It's in a world where some people are born with some magical abilities. They're called origins, and the magical abilities, the magical system is really tied to nature, and they have the ability to control nature, and they have seasons where the nature is just set loose, and it has the effect kind of like pollution and stuff like that. And it's different every time depending on like what happens. And this follows 3 POVs of 3 origins that live in 3 different ways. And one of those POVs is written in the second person, which is kind of weird if you're not used to it, but I got used to it pretty fast. And I really, really enjoyed that POV. It was one of my favorite. I felt really immersed into the book, into the story, and kind of like you're the hero type of situation. If you play role-playing games, it did make me think of that as well. The twists in these were brilliant, and I don't think that any author could actually pull what N.K. Jemisin successfully pulled with this one. I am so excited and eager to get into the next books of the series. I've heard it gets only better, and the first one was just top notch. So I cannot imagine how the other books are going to get better. And this book did actually win a Hugo Award, which I'm not surprised by because it really deserves it. I give this book 5 stars, obviously. The third book I read and finished was Finlay Donovan is Killing It by Elle Gasmano. I picked up this book because I wanted something lighter. I was reading a lot of fantasy and darker stories, and I needed something light to just get my mind off of things for a while and not get my brain all worked up. And it was not as light as I thought it was going to be. I was expecting something very light and funny and easy to go through, but I can't say that it was actually really, really light. I connected with this character a lot, being myself a mom. This character, Finley, is also a single mom, though, of 2 young children, and she was very, very relatable. I think that you can, as an adult, easily relate to characters that are in here, even if you're not a parent yourself. And I think that's one of the great strengths of this book, is that the characters are so relatable that they're believable, and even if the plot is not believable at all, you still go into it and believe the whole story because of how it's written and how you can connect to the characters, because they do feel very, very real, even if the plot is not really realistic. So if you don't know what this book is about, it follows Finley, who is a single mom, and she is struggling as an author, and she's having lunch with her agent talking about her next new book. And someone close to her in the restaurant hears her and mistakes her for being a hit woman, and she gets accidentally hired to kill someone, and it's her going all through that. And I do understand why people might say that it's light, but personally I was just so stressed out. I was so scared for Finley that she was going to get discovered and caught, and that she would lose custody of her children, and I was honestly really, really scared of that, and that was freaking me out and stressful, but it was really worth it. I think it was a very, very fun read nonetheless, and I was actually really happy that the story didn't focus on just having to kill one person and how to deal with that. It was way more than that, which I actually really appreciated. I know the second book just got out in 2022, and I'm actually really excited to get into the next book. I strongly recommend it. I didn't quite understand what cozy mystery meant before actually reading this book. I actually still don't understand, because it wasn't cozy, it was stressful. But if that's the type of mystery you enjoy, I strongly recommend it. I rated this one 4.5 stars out of 5. And the last book I read in March was Washington Black by S.C. Edugyan. So this one was on my TBR for such a long time, and I started this one in February and finished it in March. It follows this young man named Washington Black. He is a young Black boy who is working as a slave in a plantation in Barbados in the 1800s while slavery was still legal. And it talks about his own experience. He talks about what he had to live through during all of his life, from being a young boy and living through the liberation of slaves, and how he got out of there, and how he dealt with having to grow up actually really, really fast, and how he dealt with getting away and the adventures, the journey he went on, growing older and dealing with his past trauma. It was hard to read because it does talk about slavery and trauma. So please beware before getting into this book for content warnings. But I loved the writing style. I loved how the narrator was just talking about his own life and how it was written. And I really struggled with rating this a 5 stars or not, because I felt like it's not a book that I actively want to reread. Usually 5 stars, I would be really happy to reread them anytime. But this one, I'm not sure, because there's just so much trauma. But I know that if I did reread this book, I would find so many things that I didn't catch the first time around. And this book was so impactful for me, and it made such a huge impression on myself that I could not give it any less than a 5 stars. So overall, this was a really amazing month because they were all great reads. So I'm quite happy with everything I read so far. It was a great month considering the high ratings of every 4 books I read. For me, that's a big win, and hopefully that will continue on in April. Let me know in the comments if you've read any of these books, if you're interested in them. What did you read in March? How was your reading month overall? I would love to know. Like, comment if you want to, subscribe, hit the notification bell if you want to be notified every time I upload a new video. I will see you soon in the next one. Bye.